Ladies and gentlemen, imagine waking up one morning to find that all the lies, manipulation, and deceit that have been happening around you are suddenly exposed. Imagine watching the very individuals who've been causing harm, pretending to be something they are not, finally unmasked in the light of truth. It's happening right now, and it's not by accident, it's divine intervention. We are living in a time where the invisible forces that have been holding us back, hurting us, and deceiving us are being brought into the light. And trust me, this isn't just a coincidence. It's part of a larger plan, one in which God is playing a crucial role in revealing the narcissists among us. You may wonder, why should you care? Why should you watch this entire speech unfold? Because whether you're aware of it or not, we've all been touched by narcissistic behavior at some point in our lives. It's in the workplace, in our personal relationships, and sometimes even in the highest places of power. And now it's time to uncover the truth. Today we're going to explore why narcissism is not just an individual problem, but a societal one, and how the divine is stepping in to help us reclaim our power, expose the truth, and heal from the pain caused by narcissistic individuals. The concept of truth has always been a central tenet of human existence. Throughout history, people have sought truth in many forms in religion, philosophy, science, and in the most personal corners of their lives. But one of the most undeniable facts about truth is that it has a unique and undeniable way of revealing itself. No matter how hard one may try to hide or suppress it, truth has an inherent power to rise to the surface when the time is right. This is especially true when it comes to the exposure of narcissism. Narcissism, in its essence, is rooted in deception, both self-deception and the deception of others. A narcissist builds a world around them, one that is carefully crafted to serve their ego. This often involves manipulation, distortion of reality, and the creation of false narratives. Narcissists rely on lies, half-truths, and gaslighting to maintain their image of superiority and control over others. They often surround themselves with people who enable their behavior, either out of fear, ignorance, or emotional dependency. For a time, this works. People are deceived, relationships are controlled, and the narcissist remains in power. However, truth has a remarkable quality: it cannot be contained forever. Just as a dam, no matter how strong, can only hold back water for so long before it bursts, lies and deception can only last for a limited period before they break down. The truth always finds its way to the surface, sometimes with devastating consequences for those who have been hiding behind masks for so long. This is where the divine intervention comes in. In many ways, it can be said that God orchestrates the unfolding of truth, particularly in situations where the lies and manipulations have caused harm to others. God has a way of ensuring that the truth does not stay buried indefinitely. Sometimes this truth emerges through small moments of realization, when a person suddenly sees through the narcissist's false facade, when an inconsistency in their story is noticed, or when their behavior becomes too blatant to ignore. But other times, the truth comes to light in a far more dramatic fashion, when the narcissist's actions catch up to them in a way that they cannot deny or escape. This divine revelation serves a greater purpose. It provides the opportunity for healing, for justice, and for a return to authenticity. People who have been manipulated and hurt by narcissists are finally given the chance to see the situation for what it truly is, and to take the necessary steps toward reclaiming their power. The exposure of narcissism is not just about revealing the flaws of an individual, it is also about revealing the truth about the world around us. Narcissism, by its nature, creates a distortion in relationships, society, and even entire institutions. It fosters an environment where lies are accepted as truth and where manipulation is tolerated as a means of survival or success. This distortion can be so pervasive that it becomes difficult for people to even recognize when they are living in a world built on falsehoods. But when truth is exposed, it allows us to step back and see the larger picture, to understand how we have been affected by these manipulations, and to acknowledge the need for change. For those who have experienced the devastation caused by narcissists, whether in family, friendships, or even in the workplace, the exposure of truth brings a sense of liberation. It is as if the heavy chains of deception are finally broken, allowing for clarity and freedom. The emotional and psychological toll that narcissistic behavior takes on an individual is often immense. It can leave people feeling small, unworthy, and confused. The narcissist's manipulation can warp their sense of reality, making them question their own judgment, emotions, and self-worth. But when the truth is revealed, it is like a breath of fresh air. The victim of narcissistic abuse can finally see that their experiences were valid, that they were not the problem, and that the manipulator was the one who distorted the truth all along. Truth is not always easy to face. It can be uncomfortable, unsettling, and even painful. But the divine wisdom in exposing narcissists is that it forces us to confront reality no matter how difficult it may be. By bringing these truths into the light, we are given the opportunity to heal, to set boundaries, and to grow stronger. It teaches us to trust our instincts, to listen to our inner voice, and to honor our worth. In many ways, truth exposes not just the flaws of the narcissist, but the hidden strengths within ourselves that were once overshadowed by the manipulation. As we move forward, it is essential to remember that the exposure of truth is not a moment of vengeance or punishment, but rather an opportunity for transformation. It's a chance to rebuild what has been broken, to restore relationships that have been warped by deception, and to heal from the wounds caused by narcissistic behavior. God's intervention in this process is not just about revealing the narcissist's flaws, it is about guiding us toward a greater understanding of ourselves and the world around us. And in that revelation, we are empowered to live more authentically, to embrace our true selves, and to live in the light of truth. For many, narcissism is a personality trait that exists on a spectrum, and in extreme cases, it can manifest as a disorder that severely impacts not only the individual, but also those around them. To understand narcissism in society, we must first acknowledge how it shows up in our everyday lives and the way it affects relationships, workplaces, and communities. Narcissism is not just about self-absorption or vanity, it goes deeper than that. It's about a profound disregard for others, a need to control situations and people, and an insatiable desire for admiration and validation. These individuals may present themselves as charming, confident, and successful, but beneath this surface lies a person who manipulates, gaslights, and uses others for their own emotional gain. Narcissistic individuals often thrive in environments where power dynamics are skewed or where they can dominate and maintain control. In personal relationships, this can manifest as emotional abuse, where the narcissist chips away at their partner's self-esteem, manipulates their emotions, and creates an environment where the victim feels constantly on edge. Narcissists excel at playing mind games, convincing their partners, friends, or family members that they are the problem, when in reality, it's the narcissist who is causing the chaos. They are skilled at twisting facts, making others feel guilty for things they haven't done, and even distorting the truth to make themselves appear as the victim. This form of emotional manipulation can leave deep scars, often making individuals question their own worth and reality. In the workplace, narcissism can be just as destructive, if not more so. Narcissistic bosses or colleagues may use their power to belittle others, take credit for others' work, and create toxic environments that stifle creativity and collaboration. They often make decisions based on how it will benefit them rather than for the good of the team or organization. Narcissists may also foster a culture of fear and competition, where people are pitted against each other to achieve success at any cost. They thrive on admiration and often surround themselves with sycophants who stroke their ego and avoid challenging their authority. This can lead to high turnover rates, low morale, and a general sense of dissatisfaction within a workplace. Narcissists are also adept at inserting themselves into positions of influence, sometimes rising to positions of power where their lack of empathy and disregard for others can have a far-reaching impact. In politics, for instance, narcissistic leaders may engage in self-serving policies, ignoring the needs of the populace, and often taking actions that enrich themselves or their close associates. In these settings, the narcissist manipulates public perception through charm, charisma, and a carefully crafted image. They know how to present themselves as strong, decisive leaders, but underneath that facade lies a deep insecurity and a need for constant admiration. They often make decisions that serve their interests and are willing to sacrifice others for personal gain. This narcissistic behavior, when unchecked, can lead to corruption, scandals, and a lack of trust in leadership, resulting in widespread societal harm. Whether large or small, narcissistic individuals can undermine trust and collaboration. Their need to be the center of attention and to maintain control can lead to divisions where people are pitted against each other in unhealthy ways. They may exploit others for personal gain, using manipulation to divide communities or to create conflict where there is none. Whether through social media, public speaking, or within social circles, narcissists can dominate conversations and demand admiration, taking up space that could otherwise be used for constructive dialogue and healthy relationships. At a societal level, the rise of narcissism has created an environment where authenticity, selflessness, and empathy are often undervalued. In a world that celebrates fame, wealth, and power, narcissistic traits have been normalized, making it harder to distinguish between healthy self-confidence and unhealthy narcissism. Social media, with its emphasis on personal branding and the constant pursuit of validation through likes, followers, and comments, has become a breeding ground for narcissistic behavior. People are encouraged to present curated versions of themselves, often seeking external validation and admiration, rather than focusing on genuine self-worth and inner peace. This has created a cycle where individuals are constantly seeking validation from others, feeding into the narcissistic tendencies that pervade our society. This is why the exposure of narcissism is so crucial. When narcissistic behaviors are allowed to flourish unchecked, they can have devastating consequences. The individuals who suffer from narcissistic abuse often feel alone and isolated, unsure of where to turn for help or even how to escape the situation. They may not even realize they are being manipulated until it's too late, and by then the damage has often been done. The long-term effects of narcissistic abuse can include anxiety, depression, PTSD, and a shattered sense of self-worth. That's why it is so important to recognize narcissism not just as a personal issue, but as a societal issue. It's about creating a world where empathy, compassion, and authenticity are valued and where toxic behaviors like manipulation, gaslighting, and emotional abuse are no longer tolerated. In recognizing and addressing narcissism, we can take steps to protect ourselves and others from the harm it causes. We can learn to set boundaries, to trust our instincts, and to speak up when we see these behaviors in others. By creating awareness and fostering open dialogue, we can break the cycle of narcissism and promote healthier relationships in communities. When we shine a light on narcissistic behavior, we take away its power and allow people to heal, rebuild their sense of self, and reclaim their personal agency. It's a collective effort, one that requires us to value truth, integrity, and the well-being of others above all else. Only then can we hope to create a society where narcissism is not allowed to thrive and where individuals are empowered to live with authenticity and compassion. The concept of divine intervention, especially in the context of exposing narcissism, may seem abstract or even unexpected to some, but it is a profound and deeply transformative idea. When we speak of divine intervention, we are referring to the belief that there is a higher power at work in our lives, guiding us toward truth, healing, and restoration. This divine force doesn't just act in our lives in subtle, abstract ways. It often intervenes in the most direct and unmistakable manners, especially when it comes to unveiling the destructive forces that have been manipulating and harming others. Narcissists, with their manipulative behaviors and toxic presence, often operate behind a veil of deception, creating environments where they control narratives and obscure the truth. But divine intervention is the great equalizer that disrupts the carefully curated facades they put up, revealing their true nature to those around them. Narcissism thrives in secrecy and deception. A narcissist's power comes from their ability to manipulate others into seeing them in a light that is not genuine. They craft stories, alter facts, and create alternate realities to secure their position of power, control, and admiration. But truth in its purest form cannot remain hidden forever. Divine intervention works to expose this truth in ways that are often unexplainable, unexpected, and undeniably transformative. There are countless instances where the hidden actions of narcissistic individuals have been brought to light in ways that force others to see them for what they truly are. Whether through a sudden, undeniable event, a pattern of behavior that becomes impossible to ignore, or through the revelation of secrets that were once locked away, the truth has a way of breaking free. And often it's in these moments that people experience a shift, a realization that they've been living in a false reality, manipulated by someone who never had their best interests at heart. One powerful example of divine intervention in this context is the moment of revelation that often happens in relationships. Narcissistic partners, friends, or family members can be incredibly manipulative, gradually breaking down the victim's sense of self and distorting their view of reality. The narcissist's hold can seem unbreakable, leaving the victim trapped in a cycle of emotional abuse and self-doubt, but at some point, divine intervention steps in to shatter that hold. It could be through a sudden moment of clarity, a seemingly chance encounter, or an unexpected event that reveals the truth. The victim might suddenly see the manipulative behavior for what it is, or they might find the strength to speak out and confront the narcissist. This intervention doesn't just expose the narcissist, it empowers the victim to reclaim their agency, to see their own worth, and to break free from the emotional prison they've been trapped in. It's in these moments that the healing process begins, and that's where the transformative power of divine intervention truly shines. Another powerful aspect of divine intervention is the way it brings about accountability. Narcissists often operate without facing the consequences of their actions. They use their charm, their manipulative abilities, and their skill at controlling others to evade scrutiny and responsibility. They may even convince themselves that they are above reproach, that their actions are justified because they are entitled to admiration and deference. This lack of accountability is one of the most damaging aspects of narcissism, as it allows the narcissist to continue their harmful behaviors without consequence. But divine intervention has a way of cutting through this, forcing the narcissist to face the reality of their actions. Whether it's through the collapse of their relationships, the exposure of their lies, or the unraveling of their social or professional reputation, divine intervention brings a reckoning. This reckoning is often uncomfortable, both for the narcissist and for those who have been affected by their behavior, but it is necessary for healing and growth. The narcissist must face the consequences of their actions, whether they are willing to accept them or not. And those who have been affected by their behavior can finally begin to heal, knowing that the truth has been revealed and that they no longer have to live in the shadow of manipulation and control. This accountability also serves as a wake-up call to others who may be under the influence of narcissistic individuals. It creates a ripple effect where others begin to see the narcissist for what they truly are and, in turn, are empowered to protect themselves and set boundaries. The exposure of narcissism through divine intervention is not just about revealing the flaws of one individual, but about the larger healing process that takes place in the wake of truth being revealed. It's a process that restores balance and equilibrium, disrupting the toxic patterns that have long been in place. The exposure of narcissism is not always a smooth or easy process, but it is necessary for personal growth and collective healing. For those who have been affected by narcissistic behavior, it's an opportunity to reclaim their own power, to restore their sense of self-worth, and to set new boundaries that allow them to move forward with strength and clarity. In the grand scheme of life, divine intervention serves as a reminder that we are not alone in our struggles. Even in the darkest of times, when narcissism seems to have its grip on every aspect of our lives, there is a higher power at work, guiding us toward truth, healing, and transformation. This divine presence can show up in many forms: through intuition, through the support of others, or even through unexpected events that shift the course of our lives. What matters is that ultimately the truth will always prevail. And in that truth there is healing, there is freedom, and there is the opportunity for new beginnings. Accountability is one of the most powerful forces that can bring about lasting change in any situation. It is the recognition that actions have consequences, that people are responsible for their behavior, and that no one can hide forever from the impact of their choices. In the context of narcissism, accountability becomes crucial, for narcissists often operate under the belief that they are exempt from responsibility, that they can manipulate and control without facing any repercussions. They rely on charm, deception, and the manipulation of others to avoid being held accountable for their harmful actions. But eventually the truth catches up with them. No matter how skillfully they attempt to cover their tracks, accountability has a way of finding them, often with stunning and transformative consequences. Narcissists have a tendency to evade accountability by shifting blame, gaslighting, and creating scenarios where they appear to be the victim. They manipulate others into believing that they are always right and that their actions, no matter how destructive, are justified. In their eyes, they are entitled to use others to achieve their own goals, and their lack of empathy makes it easy for them to disregard the pain they cause. This refusal to take responsibility is a key characteristic of narcissism, and it makes it particularly difficult for those around them to confront their behavior. Victims of narcissistic abuse often feel trapped in a cycle of self-doubt and confusion, unsure of what is real and what is being manipulated. The narcissist's constant denial and deflection make it nearly impossible for the victim to hold them accountable or even to trust their own perceptions of reality. However, accountability doesn't just come from the victim confronting the narcissist. Sometimes it is forced into existence through external circumstances. Whether it's through the exposure of lies, the collapse of the narcissist's social or professional standing, or the revelation of their manipulative behavior to a wider audience, accountability often arrives when it is least expected. The narcissist's carefully constructed world begins to unravel, and the consequences of their actions become undeniable. When this happens, they are often left with no choice but to face the reality of their behavior, whether they want to or not. This moment of reckoning, though painful and difficult for the narcissist, is essential for the healing of everyone involved. The process of exposing narcissism and holding narcissists accountable can be both liberating and empowering for those who have been affected by their actions. When a narcissist's behavior is exposed, it provides validation for the victim, allowing them to see that the pain they've experienced was real, that they were not the cause of the chaos, and that they don't have to carry the burden of guilt or shame. It is a moment of clarity, where the victim can finally let go of the confusion and self-doubt that has plagued them. This sense of validation is a crucial part of the healing process because it allows the individual to rebuild their sense of self-worth and to move forward with the knowledge that they are not responsible for the narcissist's behavior. Accountability is also vital for the narcissist's own growth, though it may not always seem that way. Narcissists rarely ever take responsibility for their actions willingly. They often resist admitting fault or acknowledging the harm they've caused because doing so would challenge their fragile sense of self and their need to maintain control. However, when their behavior is exposed, it forces them to confront the truth, even if it's in the most uncomfortable way. It might not lead to immediate remorse or self-reflection, but it creates the conditions for change. In some cases, narcissists may experience a period of reckoning where they are faced with the consequences of their actions, be it through the loss of relationships, their reputation, or their social standing. This exposure acts as a mirror, forcing them to see the impact of their behavior on others, even if they don't acknowledge it right away. The real power of accountability lies in its ability to break the cycle of manipulation and control. Narcissists thrive in environments where they can continue to deceive and manipulate, where they are allowed to get away with their harmful behaviors without facing any repercussions. But when accountability is introduced, it disrupts this dynamic. Narcissists are no longer able to hide behind their charming exterior or their web of lies. They are forced to face the consequences of their actions, and this shift in power is vital for creating healthier relationships, workplaces, and communities. By holding narcissists accountable, we begin to dismantle the toxic systems they've created and make space for genuine, empathetic connections to take root. For those who have been impacted by narcissistic abuse, the process of accountability brings closure. It marks the point at which they no longer have to live in the shadows of the narcissist's manipulations, where they no longer have to tolerate emotional abuse, gaslighting, or manipulations, It signifies a new beginning, a chance to reclaim one's life and one's sense of self. It is in these moments that the victim can finally break free from the cycle of narcissism and begin the journey toward healing. While accountability might seem like a painful and difficult process, it is necessary for the restoration of balance and justice. It is a fundamental part of the journey toward healing, both for the victim and the perpetrator. By holding narcissists accountable for their behavior, we are not just exposing their flaws, we are also creating the conditions for personal growth, self-awareness, and change. We are forcing a confrontation with truth, and in that confrontation, healing and transformation can occur. Ultimately, accountability is not just about punishment, it is about restoring integrity, fostering empathy, and ensuring that the damage caused by narcissism can be repaired, one step at a time. The exposure of narcissism is not only about revealing the flaws of one individual, but about initiating a larger cultural shift toward transparency, authenticity, and integrity. When narcissistic behaviors are brought into the open, it forces society to confront the consequences of enabling toxic behavior and to recognize the importance of self-awareness, empathy, and the value of authentic relationships. In many ways, the exposure of narcissism challenges the very foundation of social norms that have allowed such behavior to thrive. It creates a turning point where individuals and communities can shift from tolerating harmful manipulation and control to embracing a more compassionate and honest way of relating to one another. Narcissistic behavior often goes unchecked in environments where people value surface-level success, power, and charm over deep, authentic connections and mutual respect. In our society, especially in professional spaces, social media, and even in family structures, narcissism is often disguised as confidence, ambition, or leadership. The narcissist's ability to project an image of success and self-assuredness can easily blind others to the toxic patterns at play. This ability to fabricate an idealized version of themselves allows narcissists to not only manipulate individuals but also influence larger social systems, institutions, and communities. Whether it's through their personal charisma, their control over information, or their ability to bend others to their will, narcissists can create environments where toxic behavior is normalized and their actions are allowed to persist unchecked. When narcissism is exposed, it forces a reckoning with the values that have enabled it to thrive. It challenges people to look beyond the superficial qualities that they may have once admired, such as wealth, status, or confidence, and to focus on the more essential qualities that define truly healthy relationships: kindness, honesty, accountability, and emotional intelligence. The exposure of narcissism shows the world the damage that can be caused when people place value on appearances over substance, when they allow manipulation and deceit to go unnoticed, and when they ignore the emotional and psychological needs of others. It provides an opportunity for people to rethink what they truly want in relationships, leadership, and community interactions. Instead of accepting narcissistic behavior as a byproduct of success or personality, people can begin to demand authenticity and emotional integrity in their relationships and social structures. When narcissistic behaviors are exposed, there is an inherent opportunity for societal growth. This exposure not only forces narcissists to face their behavior, but also gives others the space to reflect on their own actions, values, and beliefs. It serves as a catalyst for personal growth, offering the chance for people to break free from the patterns of manipulation and toxicity that they may have been complicit in. For example, family members or friends who have long enabled a narcissist's behavior may find themselves awakening to the need for boundary setting, self-respect, and clearer communication. Witnessing the unraveling of a narcissist's false narrative can be the first step for many toward embracing the truth in their own lives and letting go of the behaviors or mindsets that have allowed them to tolerate mistreatment. This exposure also encourages a more collective conversation around mental health and the dangers of toxic relationships. The culture of silence and shame that often surrounds narcissistic abuse is challenged when these behaviors are brought to light. People begin to understand that they are not alone in their experiences and that narcissism is not something that should be tolerated or ignored. As society becomes more aware of the signs and impact of narcissistic behavior, it encourages more people to seek help, share their stories, and support others who have been victims of narcissistic abuse. This not only facilitates individual healing, but also fosters a sense of solidarity and empowerment. It creates a ripple effect where more people feel supported in their journey toward recognizing toxic patterns in their lives and making the necessary changes to protect their well-being. The exposure of narcissism also plays a critical role in dismantling the hierarchies that often allow such behavior to flourish. In workplaces, politics, and even within families or social circles, narcissists can ascend to positions of power and influence due to their ability to manipulate and control others. They often surround themselves with people who enable their behavior, further perpetuating the cycle of manipulation. But when their actions are exposed, it disrupts the power dynamics that have been built on deception and manipulation. The narcissist is no longer able to maintain control through charm or deceit, and others are encouraged to step into positions of leadership and responsibility that are based on merit, integrity, and empathy, rather than manipulation and self-interest. This change in perspective helps create healthier work environments, communities, and political systems where people are encouraged to collaborate, contribute authentically, and be accountable for their actions. The very act of exposing narcissism leads to a shift in societal values, one that prioritizes mental and emotional health, authenticity, and relational honesty over superficial qualities like success, power, or status. This shift, while challenging, ultimately fosters stronger, more compassionate communities. It encourages individuals to engage in self-reflection and growth, to build genuine connections, and to support one another in their journeys of healing and transformation. Communities that are shaped by truth, accountability, and mutual respect are better equipped to tackle challenges, support their members, and cultivate environments that nurture both individual well-being and collective harmony. Exposing narcissism is not just about holding one individual accountable. It is about changing the way we interact with each other, the values we hold dear, and the standards we set for the kinds of relationships we cultivate. It is a call to action for greater empathy, transparency, and self-awareness. The more we expose and confront narcissistic behavior, the more we contribute to a society that values authenticity and integrity, qualities that can heal wounds, rebuild trust, and restore balance in all aspects of life. By shining a light on narcissism, we not only disrupt toxic cycles, but also create a world where honesty, compassion, and mutual respect thrive. The transformative power of divine intervention in the exposure of narcissism lies in its ability to bring about profound, life-changing shifts in both individuals and communities. It is not just about revealing the truth about a narcissist, it's about the healing that occurs in the wake of that revelation and the restoration of balance and justice. When narcissistic behavior is exposed, it does not simply tear down one individual's false facade. It opens the door for personal transformation, the rebuilding of self-worth, and the reconnection to a sense of purpose that had long been overshadowed by manipulation and deceit. The divine hand in this context represents a guiding force that works through moments of crisis, revelation, and clarity, leading those affected to new beginnings. The journey from deception to truth is never easy, but it is one that holds the potential for deep personal and collective healing. Narcissistic individuals thrive on maintaining a facade, often going to great lengths to manipulate the people around them, distort facts, and control narratives. They create elaborate stories that serve to elevate their status and minimize the reality of their toxic behaviors. For those who are ensnared in the narcissist web, the process of untangling themselves from these lies can feel nearly impossible. They may feel trapped, unsure of what is real and what is part of the narcissist's manipulation. It is in these moments of confusion and uncertainty that divine intervention can step in, offering clarity, strength, and a sense of direction. The divine often works through signs, intuition, or unexpected events that shift a person's perspective, allowing them to see through the veil of manipulation. For example, the sudden realization that something is wrong in a relationship, a job, or a family dynamic can feel like a divine moment of awakening. This realization often comes at a time when the person is ready to see the truth, when the veil has become too thin to maintain. The divine intervention here isn't always a grand or dramatic event, but rather a subtle, quiet moment of understanding. It is the stillness that comes when one's inner voice rises above the noise of manipulation and deceit, allowing the truth to pierce through. This moment of clarity is often the catalyst for change, the first step toward breaking free from the narcissist's control and beginning the long process of healing. Once the narcissist's behavior is exposed, there is an undeniable shift in the dynamics of the relationship or community. The narcissist's hold is weakened, and the truth creates space for those who were affected by the manipulation to reclaim their own voices, their own autonomy, and their own identities. This is where the divine intervention becomes truly transformative, not just in the exposure of the narcissist, but in the empowerment of the victim. For so long, the victim may have felt small, unheard, or invisible. The narcissist's gaslighting and emotional abuse may have left them questioning their own worth, their own sanity, and their own ability to trust others. But when the truth comes to light, the victim experiences a profound sense of liberation. They no longer have to live in the shadow of the narcissist's lies. They can finally see themselves for who they truly are: worthy, strong, and deserving of love and respect. This divine intervention is not just about freeing the victim, it is also about restoring balance in the broader community or environment. In a workplace, family, or social setting, narcissistic behavior often sets the tone for how relationships are conducted and how power is distributed. Narcissists create environments where their manipulation and control are normalized, where others are gaslit into accepting toxic behaviors, and where honesty and transparency are sidelined in favor of maintaining the narcissist's false narrative. When the truth is revealed, it disrupts this unhealthy dynamic, forcing others to confront their complicity in enabling the narcissist's behavior. It's in this collective awakening that true healing can begin, when everyone involved sees the situation for what it is and takes responsibility for their part in allowing the cycle of narcissism to continue. The divine intervention at play also often serves as a source of guidance and protection. Once the narcissist's behavior is exposed, those who have been affected often experience a surge of spiritual strength and clarity. They feel guided to take the necessary steps to protect themselves, set boundaries, and reclaim their lives. This divine protection is crucial because it provides the fortitude needed to navigate the emotional and psychological fallout of exposure. The victim may face backlash from the narcissist or from others who were complicit in the narcissist's lies, but the sense of divine guidance can offer the courage to move forward despite these challenges. It gives the individual the strength to trust in their own judgment and to make decisions that prioritize their well-being over the narcissist's desires. Divine intervention can open the door to healing, not just for the individual, but for the entire community affected by narcissism. This can be seen in the way that once the truth comes to light, individuals who were previously passive bystanders begin to reassess their own behaviors and relationships. They begin to see how they may have enabled toxic dynamics, how they may have ignored red flags or allowed narcissistic behavior to go unchallenged. This realization is a crucial part of the healing process. It forces people to confront the role they played in maintaining the status quo and empowers them to make changes moving forward. The exposure of narcissism creates a collective shift toward greater awareness, empathy, and accountability, ensuring that such toxic behavior is no longer tolerated or enabled. Finally, divine intervention provides the necessary tools for healing and restoration. It is not enough to simply expose the narcissist and walk away. The process of healing requires inner strength, self-reflection, and a willingness to grow beyond the pain. The divine, in this case, serves as a guide, helping the individual reconnect with their sense of self-worth, teaching them the importance of self-love, and offering them the resilience to move forward. Healing from narcissistic abuse is not a linear process, but with the right spiritual guidance, emotional support, and inner strength, it is possible to rebuild a life that is free from manipulation and deceit. The divine intervention that exposes narcissism does more than reveal the flaws of a single individual. It acts as a transformative force, guiding individuals and communities toward truth, healing, and restoration. It empowers the victim, restores balance, and encourages a deeper connection to self-awareness and empathy. Through this divine intervention, the truth is revealed, and a new path forward is made possible, one where authenticity, love, and integrity can take root and flourish. The exposure of narcissism is not just a moment of revelation, it is a powerful catalyst for transformation. It forces us to confront the toxic behaviors that have been allowed to fester, creating an opportunity for healing, growth, and restoration. When narcissistic behaviors are brought to light, they disrupt the false narratives and manipulations that have controlled individuals and communities. This exposure paves the way for greater accountability, self-awareness, and authenticity, both for the narcissist and those affected by their actions. As we witness the unraveling of these toxic patterns, we are reminded that divine intervention often works in subtle, quiet ways, guiding us to the truth when we are ready to see it. It empowers those who have been manipulated to reclaim their voices, restore their sense of self-worth, and break free from the cycle of deceit. It challenges societies to reassess their values and create environments where empathy, transparency, and integrity are prioritized over power, status, or superficial charm. The exposure of narcissism is a call for collective healing, a chance for individuals and communities to rebuild with honesty, respect, and compassion. It reminds us that while the journey may be difficult and painful, it is through truth, accountability, and divine guidance that we find the strength to heal, transform, and emerge stronger. It is a powerful reminder that no matter how deeply narcissism has taken root, the light of truth and the power of divine intervention can always break through, restoring balance and allowing for new beginnings.